Nature of Society Part 1, Session 6R. Last week we dealt with the Canons of Good Taxation as prescribed by Adam Smith, an 18th century economic philosopher considered the father of Western economics. These canons are: 1. Taxation should bear as lightly as possible on production. 2. Taxation should bear equally on all. 3. Taxation should be easy to assess and collect. 4. Taxation should be paid by the person to whom it is levied against. 5. Taxation should be certain in amount. Have we had a look at this during the week? Have we compared this to the current tax regimes in our individual countries? Do we have any observations to share? The question now arises as to how such a tax regime could be devised that will incorporate these canons and that will be acceptable to society. We will spend this first half looking at such a regime as recommended by Adam Smith. We will use the production profile of the immigrants that we have used in the past. So of course this is a profile of when land is all appropriated, how wages are determined, what is the marginal product, and what is the net product, profit. We repeat here the assumptions made in this model before. 1. Each block column in our profile represents the production profile of the equal skill and effort by one man. That for each site, equal skill and effort is expended, which produces the varying levels of production from the best sites to the worst sites. 2. The production profile is for all types of human activity: commercial, industrial, agricultural, residential, recreational. 3. The production profile is depictive of the type of human activity being undertaken. Commercial activity yield higher values than do industrial or agricultural. Residential and recreational activities yield the lowest. There is a source of value in the production profile that is not created by the landholder that can be looked at as a source of taxation. This source is the rent or net product that accrues on each profile or site as a result of: 1. The natural resources located at the site, which is considered valuable by the community. This value has not been created by the actions of the landholder. The landholder is just the fortunate recipient of this value. 2. The location of the site, which lends itself as a prime location for commercial activity, where members of the community regularly commute or have easy access to such town centers. Again, the increased values attainable here are not due to the actions of the landholder, but to the patronage made to businesses at these locations. Again, the landholder is just a fortunate recipient of this value. 3. Lands that have higher agricultural yield than others owe this only to providence and not to the actions of the landholder. The landholder is just a fortunate recipient of these increased values. This rent that the better sites enjoy are due to providence, or have been created as a result of society's demand or patronage placed on them. It is natural and just for the community to demand from this landholder a fee for the benefit he derives over and above what he would normally benefit for the use of these valuable lands. This fee, for the moment, we will call the communal due, and when collected, it is then for the community to use this revenue for the entire community's benefit. We will discuss in future sessions what the quantum of this communal due shall be, but for the moment, for the time being, we are only interested in the principle of the communal due. What do we think of this principle? Let me get your response and we can just discuss at the live stream chat. Let's take a short break now. Of course, there's 4 books which deals with just subject matter in depth. You will certainly get a great understanding of the subject if you purchase these books, which are all available at Amazon.com and very economically priced. This is my recommendation to you to purchase these books. Have a good read. We must state at the outset that it is in the nature of man to demand security of tenure on the land that he holds, although all men have equal rights to land. The communal due will replace all other forms of taxation, and its payment will secure tenure. On valuable lands that are vacant or unproductive, the communal due will apply after some period of probation, where the landowner will dispose of it and or bring it into productive enterprise. The beneficial effects of the communal due can be summarized as follows. 1. The communal due would discourage the holding from use of valuable idle land. 2. It would encourage development and redevelopment of lands as and when it becomes available. 3. Land would become available for use at its natural value and not at the monopoly prices prevailing. This would result in significant reduction in the startup costs required for new businesses and other activities engaged in by man, for example, settlement, construction, etc. 4. The communal due would result in a more just and equitable tax regime. It would be applied in line with ability to pay, and its application would result in the restoration to the community in general of a value which the community as a whole has created. 5. The introduction of the communal due would result in the increase in the establishment of new businesses and employment opportunities. There would be a widening of the tax base and a reduction of those objectionable taxes on labor and capital. 6. The introduction of the communal due, in the end, would result in the human being less dependent on the state for his material existence than is the case at present. Let me get your comments and or questions on all this. On the communal due, this is what Henry George, the 19th century economic philosopher, had to say. We would simply take for the community what belongs to the community, the value that attaches to land by growth of the community, leave sacredly to the individual all that belongs to the individual, and treating necessary monopolies as functions of the state, abolish all restrictions and prohibitions, save those required for public health, safety, morals, and convenience. The statement is taken from Conditions of Labor. He says further, the tax upon rent is the most just and equal of all taxes. It falls upon those who receive from society a peculiar and valuable benefit, and upon them in proportion to the benefit they receive. It is the taking by the community for the use of the community of that value which is the creation of the community. It is the application of the common property to common uses. When all rent is taken by taxation for the needs of the community, then will the equality ordained by nature be attained. No citizen will have an advantage over any other citizen, save as is given by his industry, skill, intelligence, and each will obtain what he fairly earns. But till then, will labor get its full reward, and capital its natural return. It's taken from Progress and Poverty. During the week, have a look at the community in which you live particularly those areas of valuable lands. Determine if these sites are optimally utilized, and if not, try to determine why. Come back next week with your observations and let's discuss. Next week we will consider this issue further. Before we end, I would like again to let you attendees know that Unsustainable Development is an educational offering devoted to the dissemination of its course to all of mankind and to those who have the English language as their official language in the first instance, and to all eventually all over the world. To make this possible, and because we do not charge a fee for this dissemination, we rely wholeheartedly on monetary donations to meet the cost of achieving these goals. If you have found these sessions useful thus far and would like others to have access to them, we would gratefully accept your donations should you be inclined to offer them. You can send donations to our PayPal account at the email address nigelgittins@gmail.com. Thank you for your kind gesture.